Imagine, say, the worst of the large corporations, and we want to bring about the sort of cultural change that will make them better corporations. It seems like an impossible task. How?
First of all, let's assume that they are a large incumbent corporation which is doing the wrong thing. And it depends on who you are and where you are. So let's assume that you're reasonably high in the organization, but not at the top. And let's assume that you care, that you understand something. Well, you're a heretic. You see something that the prevailing wisdom of the company doesn't see, and you'd like to keep your loyalty to the company, help the company work, and maintain your own maintain your own loyalty to the truth. Right. Is this okay, or should we? Well, should we just keep going? Okay. So you care about this thing that you see that the corporation doesn't see, and you care about the company. You want to keep your job, and most of all, you want the corporation to be in line with what you think is the right thing to do. We actually know more about how organizations change effectively and sustainably than most people think we know. And there's at least three different things that are required. One is a certain amount of awareness. In other words, after Clay Christensen's book on disruptive organizations came out, it was possible to think about what you were doing if you were a corporate leader in a way that hadn't been quite as obvious before. And the more that you can bring awareness to an organization, the more effective the organization will be. But that's not enough, because there are lots of very aware companies that understand that they may be heading for trouble that nonetheless do not change. So what's your next alternative? The next thing that they have to have is a level of discipline. And by discipline, I mean day-to-day practices and procedures that make it easy for people to fall into a new type of routine. And by falling into that routine day after day after day, they change the way they think, and they change the way they talk together, and gradually they change even down to the physical synapses of their brain. And they certainly change the way practice occurs. But that in itself is not enough. Even companies that excel at highly regular discipline that changes people's thinking, even those companies fall into trouble, and you need something else. One could call it empathy. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but what it could be called, but it is the desire to care. It is if the company's leaders and people at large care not just about the return on quarterly profit, but about the ongoing purpose of the company, then that will make a difference. So your job in the center is to work on all those three things: to cultivate awareness, to figure out some kinds of practices and procedures that people can follow on a day-to-day basis, and to find a way to make sure that enough people in the company care enough about the things that you care about. In order to do that, you're going to need to approach this whole problem like you would approach a political campaign. You're going to need to figure out who's influential, whether it's stock analysts or outsiders of other sorts, board members. You're going to need to build informal connections and work formally. You're going to need a small group of people, and gradually to build that small group into a larger group. And you're probably going to need to keep testing your theories and views about things to make sure it's right and it's worth all the trouble. And it's very easy to say all of that, and it's in some ways a life's work to do it.